Apex Online Racing is sponsored by Elgato, who created this lovely stream deck. For more information about the stream deck, the link is in the description below.
Hello everyone and welcome to Apex Online Racing Formula 1 action. We are here today in Shanghai for round number 11 for the PC European F1 Championship. The Chinese Grand Prix is brought to you by our sponsors Elgato, SimSock, and Driver61. I am Fizzymon and I will, as always, be your host once again today. And it's going to be a good one. We're here in Shanghai. The drivers are out on track getting ready for qualifying as the session just began. Running a little late today due to the real-life Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. We know that that one was a very, very chaotic race, and well, I'll tell you right now, it's going to be a chaotic one here as well. Hopefully not as bad driving standards, though, that's for sure. Do expect everything to go well, but we do have some breaking news here today in tier number 1. At the top of the championship, as you can see, Jan Fehler leading the way, 139 points to 106 over F1 Racer. Now, last week in Britain, if you recall, Ripson came home in second on track. Sorry, not on track. Second after penalties were applied. However, some penalties were removed from Tudor and from Galvan, and Ripson actually received a 5-second time penalty as of this morning for causing a minor avoidable collision, which was the collisions of the chain reaction behind. So he dropped down to P8 in the finishing order, promoted up a bunch of other drivers, and now that's given Jan Fehler a 33-point advantage at the top. So what does that mean for the championship? Well, I'll tell you what that means. We have 3 races to go, including this one. That means that there is a total of 52 points available after this race. If Jan Fehler can get 19 more championship points than F1 Racer here today, he will be our Tier 1 champion. Now, it is a long shot. He would essentially have to win the race or get second and fastest lap and have F1 Racer not score any points. So we'll have to keep an eye on F1 Racer's progress, because this could give Jan Fehler his first championship here in Tier 1. Now, to the rest of the standings, like I said, Ripson came home in 8th last week. He actually dropped to 3rd as a result. F1 Racer jumping up into 2nd in the standings. Darn holding 4th after not finishing at Britain. Goat Tudor up to 5th position with 84 points. Got a very close battle for 4th in the championship. Sauerbraten down to 6th with 83 points. Krusix up 2 positions after winning on track in the AlphaTauri, which the win did get given back to Tudor due to the penalty remover, so Krusix got demoted to 2nd. But still, 2nd place in a podium is a great result. He's up to 7th in the Drivers' Championship, plus 2 positions. Field Racing Seb also up 2 positions, up to 51 points and 8th in the championship, followed by Patrick down in 9th, who's lost 2 positions, and Kev Genetics down in 10th for the Alpine team. We're going to go ahead and switch over to the Constructors Championship. A lot of movement around the board. McLaren did not score because Jan Fehler did not score any points, and Donut Hole, who's actually not here once again, his setup broke last second, unfortunately, to here, so we're missing out on Donut Hole, but Jan Fehler scoring no points. And the Williams team of Patrick only scored 1 point. So it's a 13-point gap at the front. But look at this. Don't count out Scuderia Ferrari. 129 points to their name. 18 points back from McLaren. And with F1 Racer suddenly having championship aspirations and Gelbovan showing a turn of form, Ferrari cannot be counted out for the Constructors with 3 rounds to go. Eurocali Haas up to 4th with 101 points, jumping Alpine and Alfa Romeo 3 points ahead of Alpine. Now, Haas's second driver, Richie Beat, did just retire from the season, so it's just going to be Tudor. We'll see what he can do against the Alpine pair that's been very, very strong as of late. Scuderia AlphaTauri up into 6th position with 90 points. Alfa Romeo dropping 2 positions down to 7th with 89. And then towards the bottom, Mercedes has jumped Red Bull 43 to 42 points, with Aston Martin rounding out our top 10 for today. Now, for the chaos that is the actual session, I did mention that we were going to have some chaos. So, 13 minutes left in qualifying, and the news that I have is it was reported to me that we have a wet start of the race Could be full wet into inters into dry. Dry by 30 minutes into the race. It's going to be a very good one, folks. Strap in, get ready. Our mate's currently on provisional pole for Red Bull, which immediately gets knocked down by Sarah Broughton in the Alfa Romeo. Next up, either F1 racer. No, it's Gelbavan. F1 racer's in the middle sector, but Gelbavan's going to cross the line. Only comes third fastest on the board behind him. He's got one of the Alpines. No, excuse me, Williams, sorry. That is Darn. Darn coming through next. Behind him on track, I believe is Patrick. Yes, that's Patrick. You can see the huge queue, though, coming down the back straight. I believe that is Ripson, who is currently on a lap. He's got a couple drivers ahead. They're all yielding out of the way. We're going to keep on board with the Alfa Romeo driver going through the third sector of the track through turn number 16, holding high as gear as possible, staying on track, but he does not stay on track. He actually lifted there, kept the lap valid, lost a lot of time, and it's only a 31.4. Behind him, though, we mentioned F1 Racer was on a lap. 51.5 middle sector is only a 31.2. He is half a tenth off of pole position. He had a fastest final sector of them all. But our championship leader, Jan Fehler, coming out of the final corner now, 51.0 through the middle sector. He's on a very good lap. What does he have through the final corner? He goes wide and invalidates. Fehler invalidating early on. It was a 30.6 that he just lost in the final corner there. So 6/10 clear of Sarah Broughton, but unfortunately he could not keep it on track and keep it valid. Now, who just started a lap? We know Tudor started a lap, but it looks like he has had some kind of mistake. He's got an Alfa Romeo behind him who I believe finished the lap. I just had a huge gain freeze right there. Do apologize for that, as I'm sure all of you viewers saw that. Kev Genetics a little farther up the road, end of sector 2. It's going to be a 51.6 middle sector. It appears that my game freezing has caused a little bit of an issue. We're going to go on board with Kev. Kev's shown a pretty good turn in form recently. His teammate is off the road in sector 2 in the background. That is Field Racing Seb, has had a little bit of an off there, but we're going to go back to watching Kev Genetics here. Currently 13th out of the 14 cars. Don't have a big of a grid today as we would like, but that's okay. We will still have plenty of action as Shanghai always delivers. Now, speaking of delivering, Kev Genetics losing a little bit of the rear end a little bit, coming out of 14 through 15. Now he's got one corner to go. He's going to go down to fourth gear, slows the car down enough. Krusix goes on provisional pole with a 30.9, and Kev only goes P5 in his Alpine. Tudor's coming up behind. He has invalidated his lap, and it looks like most of everyone else is into the pits. Jan Fehler invalidated both of his laps, and that is the first runs done and dusted. Right into the action we are in today, folks. Just going right into it. Exciting stuff. It's all going to be good. So I'm going to look at what I was told through my messages. It's going to start wet, plus 15 minutes wet, 30 minutes is dry. So we don't know how much rain is going to be coming down, but we know we're going to get a decent amount of rain. So it's going to be very good. Also, please let me know if there's any internet issues or whatnot. I keep getting an error message, but I'm not seeing on my end that I'm seeing any frames lost or anything whatsoever. So please, please keep me advised in the event that you are noticing some issues, because we're trying to give you the best experience as possible here. And to do that, I will definitely need your help when it comes to troubleshooting some of these issues. Now, we're going to take a look at Galaxy, who's going to be the first driver out on his next lap, as the likes of Darn, Armate, and Rivershan also just left the pits. And up ahead you have Kev Genetics and Krusix on in laps. The Red Bull driver sitting down at P11. The Red Bull team was looking to have a good race last week, but unfortunately it did not unfold. Armate qualifying up towards the front, who's currently only in 8th. So they're both the Red Bull drivers looking to have a much better result here today. Halfway gone with the session, so everyone's just bolted onto the softs. The question is, though, will the rain end at a point where it's going to be better for the softs than mediums? Now, the softs have very extreme tire where you can only get, you're going to overheat the left front very easily. You get a lot of wear at the left front, and it can cause a lot of issues. But we're going to go ahead and ride on board with Galaxy with this lap, take it through us. Going through turn number 2 now. Third gear down to second through third. Turn 3 now through turn 4, short shifting up to fourth. Having a lot of rear wheel spin definitely does not help your first sector delta, which is going to be a 24.0. So a slight improvement. It says he's purple. We don't know, but he's going second gear through turn 6. and now into turn 7. It used to be flat in the old games, but because of the lack of grip, there's going to be a slight lift here. Yeah, slight confidence lifts, but mostly flat. Now, through turn 8, slowing the car down, a very tricky corner. Don't want to go too wide. Now for 9, hit the apex, short shifting up to 4th, and then up to 5th through turn number 10, keeping it on the track. Very nice and tidy first part of this lap. He's a 10th and a half up. Galaxy is on his best time, but he's still a decent ways down. 3rd gear through 11 and 12, short shifting up to 4th. This right-hander, you want to get on the power as early as possible, but you don't want to short shift up too much to lose too much of that acceleration. Flat out down the back straight. DRS wide open. Speed trap coming up here. We'll keep an eye on that. He's going to max out. It looks like about 320 and change. Heavy braking into turn number 14, braking around the 100-meter board. Down the first gear, very uncharacteristic braking. Probably slowed down the car a little bit too much, but either way, short shifting on exit, having very good traction. And through turn 16 now, keeping it nice and valid. What will the time be as Galaxy crosses the line? It's a 31.3. That's a 6/10 improvement for Galaxy on his second run. He's up into 4th position provisionally. Rivershan behind, though, in the Mercedes. He's in the championship battle with Red Bull, having to do all on his own. He does not improve on that lap. Our mate behind does not improve enough. He stays P number 9. He's got a Ferrari behind him starting a lap, so he's probably going to have to go wide here and yield. Failer also starting a lap in the background. We know Darn was on a lap. Darn's improving by 2/10 to the middle sector, using the whole width of the track coming out of 14 through 15. And now one more corner to go. He needs to keep it nice and valid in between the white lines. He does just barely. What does the Williams driver do? It's a 130.9. That's provisional pole over Krusix. A fantastic lap by Darn as Field Racing Steb starts his next lap. Krusix also on an out lap. Patrick, though, currently coming in to finish a lap right now in his Williams car. Field Racing Seb crosses the line. I believe he did not improve on that lap. Not 100%, but Patrick very squirmy through turn number 16. And he goes provisional pole, bumps down his teammate with a 130.9. Great lap by the Williams driver. There is Gelbevand. He is starting his lap right now. I believe we have, yes, tire. We don't have best, so Gelbevand did not really improve on that run. Ripson and Sauerbraten both crossing the line. Sauerbraten does a 130.8. That's up towards the front now. Tudor right behind, finishing a lap. He stays down in 12th. Now, some of these drivers probably going to run with a wet setup. I would not be surprised, considering how we know the races. But let's look at Jan Fehler, 51.1 through the middle sector. Wasn't purpled, I believe, but still should be an improvement. Sees the slow Mercedes letting him through. Needs to keep it valid. He needs to get a valid lap on the board for at least a banker. He's running out of time. It's a 130.7. That is provisional pole by a 10th. Not as fast as his first lap, but it still is fast enough to go onto provisional pole with 5 minutes and change left to go. A lot of drivers putting in lap times. Krusix was on pole. He was only improving by under a 10th. Heavy lock up into turn number 14, now 15. Goes a little too deep. That might cost him time. It might cost him improving on this lap. We'll see what he does. Coming through 16, giving it all, using all the track limits very nicely. It's a 130.748. He pits Jan Fehler for the top spot by 24 thousandths of a second. Krusix with a very strong and a very good answer to this lap. Now, where is F1 Racer? F1 Racer's down in 7th. He's currently in the pits. But remember, he needs to score points today. He's only down in 7th to keep the title alive. Now, Ripson is, after the penalty came in, if I'm correct off memory, about 38 points behind. So his championship hopes took a huge turn after getting that 5-second time penalty because he crossed the pit line well after it began, and as a result, the stewards deemed him worthy of getting a 5-second penalty. So unfortunately, that has crippled his title hopes. He's going to need a lot of help here. He's going to need Jan Fehler not getting any points. He's going to need to win this race. So does F1 Racer realistically, if he wants to have a shot at the title, needs to get points, win the race, and hope that their rival does not score any. Now, at this time, we got 3 minutes 48 seconds to go. It's a very big lull in the action. Krusix currently on an end lap. I'd like to give a little shout out to our sponsors. Thank you to Elgato. Be sure to visit Elgato's website for more information about their amazing stream deck. Thank you to SimSock. Thank you, SimSock. Don't just use any socks when driving in your league or endurance races. Use socks that will give you the edge. With SimSock's gripping technology, you eliminate any issues where your feet might slip off the gas or brake, giving the competitive edge over your rivals. Be sure to check them out at simsock.com today. Thank you to Driver 61. Driver 61 has a new coaching academy. And this coaching academy has been very useful, and they're giving lots and lots and lots of help to drivers looking to get some coaching. And with the code AOR Driver61, you can get 25% off a consultation session plus a free coaching session. Use code AOR Driver61 if you'd like to improve your racing abilities today. They have a great set of coaches. I've already heard great things about them. Be sure to check them out at driver61.com. and use code AOR Driver61 for more coaching options. Now, 2 minutes, 41 seconds to go. Darn on track. A bunch of cars coming out of the pits right now to begin their final flying lap. I'm going to use this time to take a 15-second break to grab something hot to drink so my throat doesn't die as we finish the qualifying session. But we're going to keep an eye on Darn. We'll ride on board with him as he completes his outlap and begins his final lap of the session. Alrighty, folks, I'm back. Apologies for the delay. As you can see, Darn is a 10th up through the first sector. The Williams driver, the first one to start his final flying lap. He's got enough time to do a second lap if deemed. But like I said, the soft's got a lot of tire wear, so Darn's going to be pushing to the best he can right now. Keep an eye on him now as he goes through this lap right now. Next up, F1 Racer is starting behind him, so keep tabs on who's doing what. Darn purple through the middle sector. He's a 10th and a half improved right now. What can the Williams driver do as he finishes this lap out? He's improving by a lot. But can he get maybe a nice little toe down the back straight by one of these guys going slow on their out lap? We'll have to keep an eye on that right now. Darn, what can he do? He's got a lot of cars up ahead, though. They need to move out of the way. This Williams is on a flyer right now, trying to now provisional pole position. Oh, he goes a little too late to turn 14. Is it going to be enough for Darn to get pole position? Hard to tell, but he's got a lot of cars. He's got a little bit of slipstream down to the line. He got both the Alfa Romeos and Tudor starting their final flying line. And Darn goes provisional pole by 7 thousandths of a second. That is how the session's going to start. Now, crucially, Jan Fehler and Krusix are the last two drivers to start their lap. But the first one who started his lap was F1 Racer, the Ferrari, currently flying right now. Rivershawn's gone off. Rivershawn's gone off through the first sector. That is his session done. He will not be able to improve on this lap. As you can see, he is off onto the runoff area. Very unfortunate for him. F1 Racer, though, is improved by 2/10 through the middle sector, but that's not going to be enough right now. He's still 5/10 off of the mark set by Darn in the Williams. What does the Ferrari have? Very squirming out of 14 and 15. He needs to get some kind of improvement. Any little bit should get Ripson. But Patrick's 3/10 up the road. What does F1 Racer have? It's a 31-1. He will not improve from that mark. Next up, we have Seb. Can Seb crack the top 10? He's going to cross the line. He invalidated his lap. He will not get into the top 10. His teammate, though, will cross the line, jump up P6. Captain X has improved. Next up, we have is Patrick. Patrick has invalidated his lap. He's into the pits. Galaxy and Armate. What do they have? Galaxy crossed the line. He does not improve. Armate, he is next to cross the line. He's 3/10 improved in the middle sector. He goes up to 7th. What does the Ferrari of Gelbovan have? He's currently outside the top 10. He's going to improve. He's up into 8th position. Now, here comes Sauerbraten. Sauerbraten's into the pits. What about Ripson? Ripson's improving. He's got Tudor right behind him. What do the pair do? Ripson only goes 9th. Tudor only goes 12th. Neither of them with big improvements. Krusix backed out of his lap. Jan Fehler, he's a 10th and a half up. Can he put it on pole in the race that could give him the championship that he's been dreaming of? Jan Fehler's on pole. It's a 130.5. And Jan Fehler, the German driver, with a 130.5 in his McLaren, has set the mark as Darn returns to the pits. Krusix invalidated his lap, backed out of it. He will start 3rd. Darn starts 2nd on the front row. Sauerbraten's 4th. Patrick's in 5th. Kevjanek 6th. Armate 7th. Gelbovan 8th. Ripson 9th. F1 Racer rounding out the top 10 here today. Hello, Noah. Nice to have you here today. It's a chaotic qualifying session, but we do have to remember that it is very important to note that the race will be wet. So, while the likes of Failer and Darn Crucix are at the front, wondering if drivers like Ripson and R-Mate, Kev Genetics, some of these guys who are a little farther off the mark than what they usually are, you have to wonder if they're using a wet setup. I have to wait and see. Most of these drivers use all their soft compounds during qualifying. We're going to take a look at that now. Drivers with a fresh set of softs are Crucix, Sauerbraten. So the top two both use 3 sets of softs. Interesting. Crucix, we're going to have to look at the who used what tire compound, because we know there's going to be rain during the race. We don't know when it's going to arrive. It says 30 minutes in it'll be dry, but we don't know if it'll be late enough that drivers will be able to set on a set of softs. So there we have it. Crucix, Sauerbraten, Patrick, Kev, all on fresh softs for the race. F1 Racer, fresh set of softs. Field Racing 7, Rivershawn, on a fresh set of softs. So half of the field has a fresh set of softs for the race. The other half does not. That could be pivotal right now. But there's your starting order. Jan Failer on pole position once again, with the Frenchman of Darn alongside him. Crucix in third, Sauerbraten fourth, and Patrick rounding out our top 5 here today. It's going to be fantastic. Fantastic action here today. Late start due to the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix running long, but that's okay because AOR still provides plenty of action. And there it is, folks. There's the rain. Now, I would assume it's inners. That doesn't look heavy enough for full wets. However, I know from personal experience that there is the potential that in the rainy conditions, it could be dry tires, because the soft tires do have a good delta compared to the intermediates. So I'm assuming it's inners, but it could quickly switch over to dries. So we'll have to wait and see what the drivers choose once they start readying up. I'll be right back to grab that coffee that I mentioned, and we'll have action ready for you momentarily. All right, as you can see, we're still waiting for players. I don't believe there's any issues. Yes, they have readied up. So, what I learned from the chat, KevGenX was practicing a lot during the main race, so I think he is probably going to be the most prepared for this, but I don't know if the drivers are prepared for the wet weather. We don't know what tires they're on. It looks like it would be intermediate conditions, but you never know. It was a very long time for the drivers had to pick their strategies, get it set up, so there might have been a lot of brainstorming right here on what tire is to be used. Oh, look at that, folks. It is raining, and they are all on dry tires. Oh, my goodness gracious. This is like what I was talking about. It is wet conditions, dry tires. This is going to be insane. Now, the top 10 all on softs, all on the set of softs that qualified on. I see the game's predicting two-stop strategy. Now, you can do a two-stop. Soft hard usually would be the fastest around here. Well, you could stretch to a soft medium even if you have really, really good tire management. But softs do wear a lot when they get hot. Now, in the wet weather, they probably won't wear as much. However, look how much Failer's sliding around. The grip levels are just not there. And so as a result, It's going to be an absolutely crazy race here today, as they are all on dry tires, wet race. Oh man, I am smiling right now because this is going to be a fun race. Hopefully everyone keeps it on track. Hopefully everyone is able to avoid spinning out, but I'm sure we'll see plenty of chaos here today. F1 Racer now is down in 10th, so as it stands, Jan Fehler would win the Drivers' Championship with his 2 title rivals in 9th and 10th. So, very key. Very key. Alright, so no pressure on Jan Fehler there. Might have just given him a little bit by messaging him and telling him that the title is on the line here. But that's okay. Jan's been very good under pressure all season long. It's a wet start to the race, dry tires. Well, the question is, what do the mediums have? What kind of pace does the likes of Galaxy, Tudor, Seb, and Rivershawn, what kind of pace can they have in the wet conditions? I don't know. The softs will definitely be faster than like intermediates in this condition, but the mediums may not be faster. They may really struggle at this early stage of the race. So starting on the mediums, we'll have to see if that'll work out for these guys and see how quickly it takes to dry up. But everyone's coming on the grid now. Field Racing 7, Rivershawn onto the grid, and the lights are about to go on. As you can see, Jan Fehler's going to take them away from the front. There you have it, folks. The lights are on. We got 2, 3, 4, and 5 lights here in Shanghai for the 3rd to last round of the season. It is green lights. Go, go, go. Jan Fehler gets a very good start, but look at that. Sauerbraten going 3 wide. He's all the way up to 2nd already. Got Krusix and Darn off the line. Patrick with a very good start. They're 3 wide through turn number 2. Patrick up the inside. Darn losing out big time. He's down in 5th. Ripson up into 6th position, 3 wide through turn number 4 as well. Wow, a lot of battling here. Patrick trying to come at Sauerbraten for 2nd place. They're 4 wide in the background, 4 wide going into turn number 5. Oh, and there we have it. Kev Genetics into the wall. He's lost his front wing. It is heartbreak. It is heartbreak for the Alpine team as Kev lost it. They were 4 wide. That was never going to work out, and Kev suffered it the worst. He got a 5-second time penalty for his troubles, even though he clearly did not intentionally cut that corner. Oh man, folks, it is already tears for the Alpine Garage. Jan Fehler with a great start. Sauerbraten up to 2nd off the line. Patrick up into 3rd. Krusix down to 4th. Darn losing out big time, down into 5th. Now both the Williams drivers have been fantastic in the wet this season, so I'll have to see what they can do. Ripson's up to 7. He's on the move. F1 Racer up into 8th. As you can see, some big movers. Tudor getting around Galaxy in the background. Actually, they're going side by side, through turn number 12. Who's going to get on the power first? Who's going to be braver through the fast right-hander in the wet? Galaxy gets a little squirty. Tudor goes wide. And there's the field with Kev coming around the final corner right now. I'm sorry, that other corner as well. Up towards the front. The Fehler has Sauerbraten all over his rear. Tudor, though, trying to go around the outside of Galaxy. Galaxy breaks very early, and Tudor has the position of the Remedium. It's up a spot. Oh, no! Our mate spun around, and so is Rivershawn. Both of them losing it on throttle into 14 and through 15. That is horrible for the races. It looks like Rivershawn had it worse off. Our mate was able to save it. A lot of drivers into the pits right now. Seb has retired from the session, so F1 Racers also into the pits as well. Onto the intermediate tires. It's a virtual safety car. Not sure why Seb retired from the session, but the virtual safety car has given a free pit stop for several drivers. Oh, Seb, no, excuse me. Seb retired on the... So Seb crashed across the line. He was not in the pit lane. I'm not 100% what happened there, to be honest. It looked like he was in the pits, but he has retired from the Grand Prix off of the medium tires. So that is very eventful. Right now, F1 Racer down into 12th. Ripson up to 5th, though. You know, with the VSC currently on track. Sauerbraten and Patrick Krusix. Now, the drivers on the intermediate tires, I mean, that's going to be faster than the mediums, but I don't know if it's faster than softs right now. We'll have to wait and see. Patrick, though, backing off a lot. Looks like his delta is giving a little bit of an issue. Krusix behind. 2.5 seconds, maybe a little bit of an issue there for the Williams driver as he catches back up to the front cluster of cars. Virtual safety car still out on track for Seb's car. I believe he crashed coming out of the final corner and smashed into the wall. I thought he was in the pit lane. It kind of looked like he teleported onto the track, but I guess maybe that was Darn in the pits ahead of him, and Seb had an unfortunate crash coming out of turn 16 and into the wall. Yeah, I believe that was Darn that I saw into the pits. I thought it was Seb, but it was Darn. F1 Racer, though, just got a drive-through for speeding under the VSC. That is horrible to hear if you are the German driver. We are green flagged once again. Sauerbraten really putting on the pressure on Fehler. Coming through 16 now. Both drivers still on the softs. Very, very careful on the throttle. And you can see going down the front straight, Sauerbraten using everything he's got. Checking at it. DRS is enabled this time around. And Sauerbraten trying to go for the move on Fehler, but Fehler had a very nice launch down the front straight, a lot less wing. But you can see how much Sauerbraten's really gaining through turns 2 and 3. Armate into the pits as well. That might be for a wing change, I'm not sure. But the chaos is continuing. Rivershawn also into the pits as well. A lot of drivers in the pits. F1 Racer going in to serve his drive-through penalty. His race has gone downhill, but look at this at the front. Sauerbraten all over the rear of Jan Fehler. The purple through Sector 1. The Alfa Romeo driver looking much quicker at this stage than the German driver in the McLaren. This is the battle. Here it is, folks. Jan Fehler, he knows that he needs to win this race outright to have a shot at winning the championship now. I don't know if he can win it with Ripson in 5th place, as Ripson will pick up 10 points. But I'll have to do the math post-race right now. We'll have to keep an eye on it because it will not matter if Sauerbraten can overtake Fehler, because that will squash the championship finishing this race. But Sauerbraten, very, very racy. DRS is enabled, though, so he's going to use that to blast down the backstretch and go for the move into turn 14. Patrick has disconnected from the session. Oh, no. Let's get him. Let's see if we can get him back in here as soon as we can. It looks like he's completely disconnected offline as well. I do apologize for that, folks. Just trying to see if I can get him back in. Not sure what happened there, but we're going to go on board Sauerbraten. He's not gaining enough on Fehler. He does have the rear wing wide open, and he's going to hold station as it stands at the end of the back straight. Got to see if I can get Patrick back in here real fast. Patrick has just shown up offline. He might have had an internet issue. Not sure what happened, but as soon as he goes online, we'll see if we can get him back in here as soon as possible, because that is horrible to see. It's horrible that the guy running P3 has just disconnected from the session. Heartbreak if you are the Williams driver, who's now probably going to get overtaken by Krusix down the front stretch, as you can see. But up at the front, Sauerbraten still going strong, only a half a second behind Jan Fehler. The battle for the lead is kicking off, folks. This is a very, very important battle. You can just hear the wheel spin of these drivers as they're trying to get the power down underneath them. We're going to continually keep looking at the friends list to see if we can get Patrick back in here as soon as possible. Yes, there he is. We see him online. Send him the invite. Let's see if he can get back in his car. He's only in 4th. He hasn't lost out too much, actually, considering. I mean, he lost 3rd position, but he's still hanging on pretty nicely to Krusix. But hopefully his tire's in a good condition right now. Kev Genetics goes fastest on a fresh set of softs. F1 Racer into the pits, probably to get off the intermediate tires for a fresh set of tires. We're going to go ahead and give Patrick another backup invite as well. That way he can keep racing and not have the issue just in case, because we don't want to see someone disconnect from the race and not be able to finish. He's having such a good result so far. We want him to keep having it. But looking at the front now, Sauerbraten under half a second behind Jan Fehler. Can he get the move on right now? He needs to get it. His F1 Racer is actually onto a set of mediums, interestingly enough. But Sauerbraten has the DRS wide open, but he does not getting the good enough run that he needs out of turn number 13 to reel in Fehler. But that's a huge lockup into the braking zone. Still makes the corner just fine. Very impressive driving and car control by Sauerbraten to keep it going right there. You can see Krusix in 3rd. Patrick looks like he's back in his car now, running in 4th position. Ripson in 5th. Gelvan in 6th. Tudor up to 7th. He's doing pretty good on the mediums. Galaxy as well, hang on the mediums as well. Gelvan picks up a 3-second time penalty for his troubles. And then you have the gaps farther back with Darn, Armate. Everyone else is put on intermediate tires who had troubles on the opening laps. They all had to pit, change some wings, change some damage, fix some things, and carry on. Now F1 Racer's probably hoping for a safety car down in 13th, but Jan Fehler, this man up at the front, he's got a very, very fast Alfa Romeo behind him. He's been under half a second this whole way around. You can see Jan Fehler locking up that left front tire. Might be getting a little hot at times. which is unlikely with it being wet, but this track does destroy your left front tire. So it's going to be crucial that he can keep that under lock and key. But Sauerbraten is not letting Jan Fehler get away. He is keeping it very, very close for the lead. Krusix is closing in a little bit. Krusix is under 2 seconds now behind Sauerbraten. So do not discount that AlphaTauri driver who's currently flying on track. Patrick as well. Patrick has spun. Patrick has round. He is missing his whole front wing. That is a virtual safety car. It looks like he spun coming through 9 and 10. Completely lost his front wing. And that is heartbreak for the Williams driver. He was doing so good after that start. Had the disconnect, came back in his car. Maybe his tires weren't at the right temperature. And now the VSC has been deployed. He will surely have to pit and change that front wing. But this does freeze it up at the front. Krusix only 1.1 behind Sauerbraten at the front. Hopefully he's not too far in the red, but he's trying to capitalize off this VSC. Maybe get a good run out of it. Got some fans for the airborne drivers. Oh no, Jan Fehler's picked up a drive-through penalty for speeding under the VSC. Oh, it's heartbreak. He was just too fast on the Delta going through the hairpin. He's going to serve that right now as we go green. Sauerbraten takes the lead of the race. The airborne driver going first. Krusix dives into the pits as well. He does not have a penalty to serve, so he's going to have a pit stop normal planned. It is currently an airborne driver 1-2. The whole race is flipped on its head. Jan Fehler picking up a drive-through penalty from the lead. Sauerbraten has been unleashed, but let's keep an eye on Krusix now. He's not changing his wing. He's actually going to do a set of hard tires. So he's going to hope that he has enough grip. But you can see the rain is still coming down at a decent rate. So now Krusix has served his mandatory pit stop. Jan Fehler only came in for the drive-through. Gelvan also has pitted off this off. Patrick as well. Onto a fresh set of medium compound tires. But look at this. Darn and Gelban battling coming out. We're going to see the tire difference. Hards versus intermediates. Gelban with a much better drive up the inside. Fresh set of hards. He will have the position for now on Darn. We're going to keep an eye on this battle because this will be the difference between the intermediates and the hards. As the inners were looking all right, but I don't think they're going to be the fastest tire out there. You can just see how much Gelvan just pulled away on the hard compound of tire. Go airborne indeed. We have another spin. Oh no! Oh no! That's Ripson into the wall. Oh man! Driver spinning left and right. Ripson is into the wall, coming out of turn number 10. He's missing his front wing. It's the same exact spot that Patrick spun. Ripson will surely have to pit and change that wing now. Oh, it is heartbreak. It is absolute heartbreak. It was an airborne 1-2, and now Ripson's gonna have to pit, change that front wing, get off the fresh set of tires. He's gonna have his championship leader probably coming out of the pits right behind him. But we'll have to see how much grip he has because Fehler's gonna have to pit soon. Sauerbraten, meanwhile, leading the way still for the airborne team, so he's doing a fantastic job from the front right now. Will he dive into the pits to get off the soft slot? No, he's going to stay out for another lap, but the rain surely catching out plenty of drivers right now as it stands. We're going to look in the background, though. Darn and Gelband, this is the battle between the hards and the intermediate tires. DRS open for Darn, you can hear it. Darn stopped using the battery. Will he go for the move up the inside of Gelband? He's looking for the move. He's up the inside, but Gelban's able to break a little later on the hard tires, leaves plenty of space on the exit. Fehler stays out while Ripson's into the pits. A lot of rear wheel spin by both drivers, and it looks like Gelban might hang on to the position, but they're still side by side going into 16. Darn actually dives right into the pits. Gelban stays out. He's on the fresh set of hards. He's in good shape for the Ferrari team right now. Ripson, meanwhile, in the pits, changing that front wing, putting on a fresh set of tires. It's another set of softs. Interesting move. I assume he thinks he's just going to have more grip here. It's going to be much better to do a two-strop strategy because he's going to have to pit again no matter what. But he wants more grip than these drivers around him. He's going to come out all the way down in 10th. Darn's in the pits behind him going on to a set of hards. But Gelvan is key right now that the hard tires are not too bad at this stage. Krusix also in a really good spot to challenge Sauerbraten for the win of this race. The gap between Krusix and Sauerbraten is 24 seconds. Unfortunately, I do not know the pit delta around this track, so one of you might in the chat may know that. But I believe as it stands, it's probably about 20-21 seconds, so Sauerbraten's still clear of Krusix. But we're going to keep an eye on that because that's the battle for the race lead. Tudor on the mediums, meanwhile, in second position, started outside the top 10. He's got 7.3 to Sauerbraten, so he's got a ways to go before he does anything. Meanwhile, our mate battling it out with Kev Genetics. Kev on the softs, our mate on the inners. relatively similar performance probably at this stage considering the wear on those tires. You can see Kev trying to find a way through on the intermediate compound runner. Sauerbraten, meanwhile, stays out for another lap. Tudor stays out for another lap. But let's keep an eye on Kev here. He's basically pushing R-Mate through the corner. That's another spin. That's Darn, who is round. It looks like he's kept his wing intact, but coming out of turn 10, he has lost the rear end. Unfortunate, but back to the battle with Alpine on the Red Bull driver. There you have it, Kev trying to go around the outside on the straight. He's got the DRS while R-Mate does not have that advantage. And Kev Genetics will have the position into the braking. So you see Ripson, look how much later on the brakes Ripson was compared to the two up ahead. He's clearly the faster driver in this battle. He's reeled them in. And Ripson gaining a lot. The softs faster at this stage. Sauerbraten has gained over a second on Crucix on the last lap. So it's 25.8 now, and the gap is increasing. So the soft compound tire clearly superior, but Tudor and Galaxy, keep an eye on them on the mediums. They can go long, and if this rain helps their tire wear stay down, they could go for even a medium soft strategy. So be careful because they're matching the front runner's pace. But look at Ripson going up the inside of R-Mate. They're side by side through 4, and now running into 5. Ripson has the Red Bull cleared. Surely will R-Mate go for a move up the inside into 6? No, he thinks better of it, and Ripson has the position. Now he's got Kev Genetics to pick off once again. Ripson giving us some fantastic driving early on in this race. Did have the spin, did break his wing, but he's currently flying right now. His championship rival, Jan Fehler, is about 22 seconds up the road. Maybe 23, if my math is correct. I believe it's 23 seconds at this stage, but Fehler's on old softs versus Ripson's fresh softs. Both drivers will have to pit again. Ripson trying to capitalize off Kev, really struggling coming out of turn number 10. Turn 10 really catching a lot of drivers out. You can see Ripson spinning the rears actually through 12 and now through 13 to try to get on the power early. Let's see if he can get Kev. He's going very wide. A lot of understeer there, using all the battery that he has to use. You can see he's gaining a lot, gaining down the back straight. He wants to make the move into the hairpin. He needs to clear Kev Genetics. Kev goes defensive. He's going to battle. They're going to battle into the hairpin right now, into 14. This is not the best camera angle that we want. They're side by side. There you have it on exit, but Ripson gets the power down much sooner, and he will have the position. But Kev will get DRS as the detection point is right before the straight. Can Kev go back at him? Coming into turn number 1 now, Ripson got a much better drive out of turn number 16, and that should be that position done and dusted. Ripson up into 8th on a little bit of a recovery drive right now. Speaking of a recovery drive, F1 Racer is on the opposite right now, down in 13th. Unfortunate for one of the title rivals, but that is good news if you're Ripson to see. Now Sauerbraten trying to get his 3rd win of the season. 6.6 ahead of Tudor, his nearest rival. Galaxy has also not been dropped off either, so do not, like I said before, do not discount Tudor and Galaxy at this stage. Both drivers not really losing any time to Sauerbraten. In fact, Tudor gained half a second on the last lap. So the mediums might be a little better at this stage. Question is, when does it dry up? And when does Sauerbraten pit? Now, Crucix and Gelvan will go to the end. However, they do not have the tire advantage. Sauerbraten at this stage could probably go to the end on a set of mediums. So he will surely come out ahead of Crucix at this stage due to the pit delta. And he will surely pull away once he does pit onto the medium tires. But he's going to stay out for another lap and keep using those softs that are just not wearing as much as you would think. Galaxy in 3rd right now. Red Bull driver having a heck of a race. We were watching him qualifying. He's up 8 positions. Tudor's up 10 as well. But both Galaxy and Tudor, phenomenal drive so far. You can see Jan Fehler diving into the pits in the background, locking it up, keeping it clean. He's going to pit off of his softs for what I believe is a fresh set of mediums. Might go for the hards if he doesn't trust the mediums. But as you can see, Crucix will get him. Gelvan will get him as well. Patrick may also get him as well. Patrick on a set of mediums. Yes, Jan onto the hards. Interesting move. But as you can see, Patrick passing him. Ripson is going to get him as well. But Ripson, as we know, has to stop again. So there's all to do for. Actually, look at this. Kev Genetics and R-Mate going to come out ahead of Jan Fehler as well. So Fehler has a lot of time to make up. He's going to be towards the back of a lot of traffic. He's going to need to get a move on if he wants to have a shot at winning this race, which is looking very, very unlucky right now with the pace Sauerbraten has at the front. Race leader on lap 10 out of 28, guys. It has been an absolutely phenomenal race. Thank you for tuning in today, and thank you to our sponsors, Elgato SimSock and Driver61. I think it is safe to say that Sauerbrotten's got some very good socks on right now because he is keeping it very nice and tidy, unlike his teammate and plenty of other drivers here today. Sauerbrotten using that competitive edge. Tudor as well, now 6 seconds behind Sauerbrotten, slowly reeling in the Alfa Romeo driver up ahead, but nothing that if you're Sauerbrotten, nothing to be concerned about too much. Galaxy in third. We do have a little battle farther down the order. It looks like Ripson has caught up to Patrick, pushing the Williams driver through. Now the Williams driver can go to the end of the race. Ripson, like I said, like I have been saying, he will have to pit again. But he's got the tire advantage, considering the conditions, considering it's still raining. And there you have it, Sauerbrotten into the pits. Tudor will take the lead of the race as a race leader pits. Question is, where does he come out? Will he come out ahead of Krusix? I believe he should, but do not discount anything right now. Keep an eye on Krusix. But look in the background. Ripson has the DRS. He'll make the move easy as you like on Patrick into the braking zone. Ripson up into 6th position. Next on his list is Gelbevand as he's reeling them in. Sauerbrotten, meanwhile, leaving the pits. It's going to be very close between him and Krusix. Look at Krusix to our right. Krusix is going to be right behind. There we have it. Right behind Sauerbrotten. That's the camera angle we wanted as Kevjanex dives into the pits to get off his softs. But this is the battle for the net race lead. Krusix on hards, Sauerbrotten on mediums, excuse me. The question is, can Sauerbrotten break the DRS on this outlap? He needs to. He needs to so he can secure this race victory essentially at this time, barring any safety cars. Meanwhile, Rivershawn has cleared Kevjanex, who's leaving the pits right now on a fresh set of mediums. He will try to go to the end of the race as well. But look at this up in 3rd place right now. Sauerbrotten having a fantastic drive. He's had some really good drives this today. And as F1 Racer actually retires in the pit lane, decided that he has had enough. He was already a minute and some off of the race lead. He does not see any hope, and so he has decided to retire in the pit lane. It is tears for the Ferrari driver and the Tifosi fans. That will allow Ripson, surely, if he can get some points to his name, to jump back ahead of F1 Racer in the points. So he's yellow flag in Sector 1 as his car retires. Tudor leading the way. Sauerbrotten, look at this, 2.4 seconds clear of Krusix. Right now, as it stands, 2.5 down the back straight. The gap was only 0.8 at one point. He's got 1.7 seconds in the matter of 2 sectors. That Alfa Romeo driver looking to have his best win of the season. Ripson, meanwhile, his teammate going up the inside and around Gelbevand into turn number 14. Easy overtake as you'd like. Much better grip on the softs versus the hards as Ripson tries to make the 2-stop strategy work out for him. He's on the move right now. You can see Patrick and Gelbevand behind, not far behind Gelbevand, picking up another 3-second time penalty. The Ferrari driver, the lone Ferrari driver, really struggling. You know, the Ferraris were looking to put on some pressure into the Constructors Championship on McLaren and Williams. Williams currently has one driver in 12th and one in 7th, while Gelbevand is in 6th right now. He's the highest up out of those 3 teams. So it has been very, very interesting right now to see how things have fared out. Ripson now looking to run down Krusix at this stage. Keep an eye on Patrick too. He's running down Gelbevand, and then in the background, Jan Fehler trying to get our mate. He's still stuck behind the Red Bull driver. The hards, in retrospect, may not have been the way to go. They will get to the end, but look at the pace. He's struggling a lot. Yellow flag in Sector 2. That is Ripson. Ripson's off the track once again. He gets a 3-second time penalty for his troubles, which I'm not sure was valid to get, but he has spun round through turn number 7. He must have lost the rear grip on throttle, and the Ripson, who was on a charge through the field, he had the tire compound advantage, just struggling in these conditions, drops all the way down into 9th position. And behind his title rival, he was way farther up the road. He was ahead of Gelbevand, ahead of Patrick, our mate, and Jan Fehler, and just lost the rear end on throttle. Surely that is tears if you are the Airborne team, but you can't be too mad because his teammate Sauerbrotten now 8.3 behind Galaxy. He is closing that gap a lot. Every lap that Sauerbrotten goes around, he gains well over a second. Airborne driver, as I've been trying to say, his race wins have not been because he's had dominant drives. This mainly have been because of strategy calls, it's because of his strategy calls. I mean, Spain stayed out, made it work for him. In Monza, he elected to go softs at the end, had the overspeed, and was able to make the overtakes when they mattered. But here today, He had a phenomenal start to the race, and now look at him. He's just pulling away from Crucix. In net P1, Cyberbrotten absolutely dominating at this stage of the race. He's looking untouchable right now in the Alfa Romeo. Rivershot pits off of his inners. He decides he's had enough of those tires. But Cyberbrotten looking to lead the Alfa Romeo Airborne team into victory lane for another time this season. Fantastic drive by the Alfa Romeo driver as he looks to jump Tudor again in the championship standings. Cyberbrotten currently sitting in 6th, if I am correct. I do apologize. Looking to rebound and have a very, very strong result. But we're going to go ahead and look at the other battles on track. We have Patrick, who's caught up to Gelvan. Patrick has Gelvan beat on penalties, but Gelvan losing a little bit of time to Crucix because of mistakes like we just saw coming out of 10. The hard's really not the tire to be on right now. As you can clearly see, the medium's just that much faster. Crucix losing time to Cyberbrotten left and right. He's lost time to Tudor, really, on those old mediums. And then you look at Patrick versus Gelbavand here. Patrick's going to have the DRS. This probably will be an easy as you like overtake down the back straight. He's going to use the battery. He's going to use the DRS. He's going to go to the inside. He's going to have the position going into 14. Gelvan's going to come back at Patrick, but Patrick has it done and dusted on exit and through 15 now. Gets on the throttle. A little bit of rear wheel spin, though. Gelvan trying to go up the inside. Patrick giving a little bit of a squeeze. They're going to go side by side into 16. Who's going to be braver? It is Gelvan up the inside. Patrick goes for a switchback, though, as Gelvan slides the rear. Question is, who has DRS? That is Patrick. Ripson dives into the pits along with Armate. Patrick goes to the inside, going to turn number 1. He has the DRS, and he has the position through 1 and 2 now. But Gelvan comes back at him. He's trying to come back up the inside, but the hards don't give him the grip on traction on throttle that he needed. And Patrick up into 5th. Gelvan down into 6th. Now Ripson pitting onto a fresh set of mediums. He's going to go to the end of the race. Armate also onto a fresh set of mediums, goes to the end of the race as well. Both these drivers looking to battle it out. Ripson knows he needs to clear the Red Bull as soon as possible, as he believes he has the pace advantage. While Armate currently sitting in 9th place. Not his best day, but he's trying to bring home a good haul of points for Red Bull, considering his teammate currently running in 2nd position. So we'll keep an eye on this battle, see who can get on the power quicker, Ripson or Armate. Patrick Hmiel has almost broken DRS on Gelbavand. Just goes to show the pace advantage that some of these drivers have on their rivals. Armate really losing the rear. Ripson going up the inside into 7. Who's going to back out is going to be Armate. He knows that you cannot go around the outside, especially in these conditions, through 7. And he's going to settle in behind the airborne driver. You can see Ripson goes a little wide, though, but Armate as well might try to take the battle back to the airborne driver down the back straight through the DRS zone, but he needs to get good traction through 12 and 13. He's within DRS range by a long shot. He's got through the detection point now, so he will have DRS. The question is, can he get close enough out of 13? Ripson's surely going to battery dump coming out of the corner. Got to be careful on traction. Don't need a little bit of rear wheel spin like we saw. Ripson goes through the right-hand side of the track, tries to break the toe, but it looks like Armate's just not going to be close enough to Ripson to make the move going into the braking zone. He gets close, but unfortunately Armate's going to have to get a little closer than that. Coming it down out of 13, down the straight. Probably wish that the DRS could be opened a little bit earlier, but that is the way the cookie crumbles at this stage. Now, Cyberbrotten 3.8 behind Galaxy. He's reeling in both Tudor and Galaxy each and every lap. He's 11.1 ahead of Crucix. He's done that in 4 laps. 4 laps, 11 seconds. Cyberbrotten is flying on those mediums. Just goes to show the pace advantage that he has over these drivers. And it makes you think, well, if Ripson, he's currently 19 seconds behind Failer, can he run down other drivers on those harder compounded tires? Because look at the advantage Cyberbrotten has over Crucix alone. Now compare that to Gelbvan, Failer, other drivers who on older hards versus fresh mediums. They're going to be lightning fast, but don't count out Tudor and Galaxy. As it stands, Tudor will pit. It's a 23-second gap between him and Crucix. It was about 25 seconds when we saw Cyberbrotten pit between him and Crucix. He came out just ahead of Crucix, so it looks like the pit delta is going to be 24 seconds. Tudor will surely just stay out, pit for soft. Same with Galaxy. Cyberbrotten goes fast at 1:43.3. Tudor's going to be lightning fast at the end of the race, so he surely should have a podium barring any mistake. Galaxy going to be trying to go for that too. He's got a pretty nice gap to Crew 6, and he's going to have Patrick cleared as well by the looks of it. Both drivers do not discount to finish in the top 3. Tudor could even try to pressure Sabron, but he's going to have probably 10+ seconds to go. Failer goes fastest with a 43.0. He's showing that the hards are not that bad. So Jan Failer showing some good pace. He's caught up to Gelvan, who's also on hards that are a little older than him, but he's kind of stuck right now. Oh, look at this. Captain X 41.7. Has the rain subsided? I think the rain's let up. It looks like the rain is starting to end. And now we're going to return to dry running. So that huge pace advantage that we've been seeing is going to be a little negated. And the question remains now, as Rivershot picks up a 3-second time penalty. The question is, these medium runners, Patrick, 9-lap-old mediums, surely he's going to try to take this to the end, but he's going to have to take him 21 laps. It's going to be very, very hard for some of these guys on their old mediums to make it to the end. They're going to try. They should be able to, but it's going to be tricky for the likes of really just Patrick now that I look at it. But guys like Sauerbraten on 4-lap-old mediums are going to struggle. Obviously, Tudor and Galaxy will pit onto a set of softs probably in the next 3 or 4 laps. But for the meantime, they're going to stay out and push as hard as possible, knowing that it is drying up. The lap times are going to come down. We're going to keep getting purple laps. There's Sauerbraten, the 40.3 as the pace ramps up. Jan Failer, speaking of ramping up, is going to go up the inside of Gelban into 14. Locks the front right a little bit, but he has the Ferrari cleared. Gelban going to go for a little bit of a switchback. Both drivers struggling for traction through 15, but it looks like Failer's going to have the position through 16, excuse me. Patrick, though, picking up a very costly 3-second time penalty because he has Jan Failer 2.2 behind. Gelban not close enough to make the move on Failer into turn 1. And the German driver, championship leader, up into 6th position. Now, can he win the championship today? He's going to need... He needs 19 points on Ripson. We know that for a fact. Sorry, not Ripson, F1 Racer. So he needs to get 2nd place in fastest lap, or he needs to win the race outright to win today. I don't think that is likely, considering he's down to 6th position. He's got a couple drivers who haven't pitted up ahead. Speaking of which, Sauerbraten, purple through the middle sector. He's got DRS on Galaxy now. Surely he's going to go for the move into the hairpin. The airborne driver, very quick these last 5 laps since he put on the mediums. He's been quick all race, but those old mediums in front of him, you can see the pace difference between the fresh and the old tires. As Sauerbraten kicks up the sparks, goes to the right-hand side of the track, has the position before the braking zone into turn number 16. Rivershen is round, though. Rivershen has spun round, coming out of 4 and through 5. But he's got it going again, keeps his car out of the wall, no damage, no debris on track. So it's green flag once again. Sauerbraten, 37.6. He's lighting up the timing boards. You can see the track as it's completing its drying out phase. It's not fully dry. I expect the drivers to maybe do 36s, probably into the 35s. With DRS help, considering the tire wear that we've seen. F1 Racers left the session. Unfortunate for the Ferrari driver here today. Sauerbraten is up into 2nd place, just waiting for Tudor to pit up ahead. Galaxy trying to keep DRS, though, of the airborne driver. It's going to be crucial here for his race, because Galaxy knows that if he can keep a Sauerbraten, who's just been a lot faster than him, just keep the DRS, it's going to be huge. Now, Sauerbraten looked like he has red light on, but no, he's got 43% battery. Galaxy has 43% as well. Seen a little bit of water coming down. Ripson goes purple, 37.3. And Galaxy, can he keep DRS? The DRS detection point now is through 11 and 12. You can see it on the mini-map in the bottom right. Galaxy's just outside of DRS. Oh, this is going to be huge. Can the Red Bull driver get what he needs to help him out? He's not going to be close enough. Going through 11 and 12, he will lose DRS. It is unfortunate if you are the Red Bull driver. Do have a yellow flag, though. That's Gelban. Gelban is round out through turn 7. Carried a little bit too much speed. He's spun around. He's not going to lose any positions, but he's going to lose a ton of time. He was not too far behind Failer, and now he's going to have Kev Genetics right up behind him with his tires overheated, surely. So Gelban, the Ferrari team, it has just not been their day. They had a really good result last week in Britain. Not so much here today. Gelban struggling down in 7th position. You just see his rear sliding as Kev Genetics comes almost within DRS range. Sauerbraten goes purple, the 37.2. Kev will be within, he's within a second, but I don't think he was within the DRS range of by the time that he was at the detection point. He actually was. Okay. So Kev was close enough. The deltas just didn't update. And as you can see, flies down the straight. It's going to get within a half a second going into the braking zone. Maybe even a little closer on turn-in. As Kev surely has the tire advantage. Jan Fehler with a 36.6 though. He's flying on those hard tires right now. Really laying down the hammer. Kev with a 36.2. He's flying as well. He's going to go up the inside of Gelbovan. Goes for the move on the Ferrari with the DRS advantage. Has the move into turn number 1. Can Gelbovan try to stick it up the inside through 2 and 3? No, he does not. He does not have the traction, does not have the grip. Gelbovan down to 8th. Kev up into 7th position. Easy as you'd like. It is lap 19 out of 28. Our race leader is still the Haas Goat Tutor. He has not pitted. 18-lap-old mediums. Fresh from the start of the race. Surely he will go on to a set of softs now. Unfortunately, I do not recall if he was one of the drivers with a fresh set of softs for the race. Him and Galaxy, the 2 drivers still left to pit. And there you have it, Tutor into the pits for the set of softs. He's going to only have 9 laps to do on him. And he's got it all to do for if he wants to win this race. I don't think it's going to be... He's going to be able to pull it off. Sauerbraten, as you can see, flying down the front straight, takes the lead of the race. Galaxy stays out. Sauerbraten does a 36.0. So Tutor's going to have to gain probably a 1.5 to 2 seconds a lap if he wants to have a shot at winning this race. But he's going to have a podium, it looks like. Guaranteed. He's in the pits. He's got the softs on. Let's keep an eye on Krusix. Krusix coming down the front straight. Does Tutor have the AlphaTauri cleared? This is crucial for Tutor's race. The Romanian has the position and comes out perfectly just ahead of Krusix. Fehler does a 35.8. He's still flying. He's got Patrick right up ahead that he can't seem to catch up to close enough. But the McLaren doing great. Now Tutor, he's got 15 seconds to the leader. What can Tutor do on his fresh set of softs? Kev, on the mediums, 35.3. He goes fastest. He's trying to reel in Jan, but 10.6 seconds is a little bit of a tall order, especially when Fehler set a purple lap prior to Kev doing that himself. But Krusix surely's got to be thinking to himself, what has he done? I mean, he had a really good start to the race, and now he's been overcut by Galaxy Sauerbraten. Well, by Tutor and Sauerbraten. Galaxy was going to have to pit still. There's a 12-second gap. Galaxy's going to be probably going to come out of the pits between Jan, Fehler, and Patrick. He's going to be really quick. So if you're Fehler and Patrick, you got to look out. Question is, does Galaxy know that he's probably going to come out in that gap? We're not sure, but it was about a 23 pit second delta. So does the Red Bull driver come into the pits? Yes, he does this time around. He's only going to have to do 7 laps on those tires. No, excuse me, 8 laps on those tires at this stage. And Galaxy looking to get his first podium of the season. It's going to be hard because he's going to have to probably clear Patrick and Fehler. Tutor picks up a 3-second time penalty. That is huge, and that probably ruins his chance of winning the race and beating Sauerbraten. Even with the tire advantage, the gap is just too far. It's 14 seconds to the airborne driver. He's going to need a miracle at this stage. Fehler goes fastest. Galaxy Hmiel leaving the pits. There you have it. Right behind Fehler and Patrick. He's going to have a decent ways to go. He's got 10 seconds to Krusix and for a podium. He's going to still have to clear Fehler and Patrick, who are on those older tires. Those older, harder, compounded tires. So if you are Galaxy, you have it all to do for it, but you have your best result of the season ahead of you if you can clear it and get it on the podium. What can the Red Bull driver do? Towards the back, Darn into the pits as well, off the hards, probably going for a set of sauce. Maybe see if he can steal the fast lap of the race. Maybe have a little bit of fun because our mate was a little too far away. At this point, you just got to hope for a safety car if you're the Williams driver. Tutor gaining a little bit, though. He's only gained about 0.3 of a second through the middle sector on Sauerbraten, which is not enough, considering that the middle sector is probably where you'll get the most time on the softs compared to those mediums, which are still very quick. They've been really quick all race. But you know this has been really quick at this stage. It's Jan Fehler and Galaxy. Galaxy is caught up to Fehler. Patrick, he will have DRS down the back straight. We're going to ride on board with the Red Bull. He's using his battery. He's got the DRS. Patrick up front. You know, he's got the overspeed, so it looks like he's trying to keep Fehler behind. Galaxy knows he needs to clear these guys. So he needs to clear them as soon as possible. It's going to be hard, though, because they have the DRS. Tutor does a 33.9. It was probably a second and a half faster than Cyberbrot's best lap, but I don't know if that pace is going to be sustainable because he's going to need to do that every lap and then some here on out. You can see there goes Failer, and oh, Tudor, what happened to Tudor? Tudor's off the track through turn number 2. Oh man, what has happened to the Haas driver? Completely dropped it coming through turn number 1. He's lost out on second place. Big time Crucix is through. And now, with his rears completely lit up, he's come under threat from Patrick and Failer. So Failer could still get a podium as it stands because Tudor is only 3 seconds ahead. Actually, Galaxy could even get a podium. The Red Bull driver trying to pressure our championship leader. He's going to go around the outside of turn number 6, but Failer holds on. This right here is a huge battle. Patrick is 2.6 behind Tudor, whose softs are probably still a little overheated. Galaxy knows he needs to clear these two guys now because he sees Tudor up the road. That is the final podium position. Tudor has a 3-second time penalty. Galaxy will surely know that once he gets through on Failer, can see the name tag. And so Galaxy needs to get through. Failer knows he needs to clear Patrick now because he has a podium in the balance as well. But Patrick is the cork in the bottle between him and Tudor. Here goes down the back straight once again. Galaxy using his battery, using everything he has. He needs to make a double overtake. He needs to do it. It's now or never for the Red Bull driver. Jan Failer's going to go up the inside into 14. He's going to have the late break move. Patrick locks up as well. He's going to sit behind. Failer goes a little deep, though. Patrick goes for the switchback. Galaxy would go on board with him. He's trying to find a way through. Failer will be ahead through 16. It's very slow on the apex. Patrick can't go for the switchback, but Galaxy now using his battery, trying to use the DRS. He sees Patrick's out of battery. Failer is using everything he has to hold it, but Failer's trying to go around the outside. Galaxy tries to go up the inside. They're trying to go 3 wide into turn number 1. Galaxy up the inside of Patrick. They bang wheels. Galaxy has the inside line. He has the position. He's up in the 5th. Patrick goes for a switchback, but the softs have that much grip. Now Galaxy needs to clear Failer now. He needs to go for the move, possibly go for a lunge. He needs to get through so he can try to run down Tudor. He doesn't have the battery. He's going to go up the inside of 6. Can break just that much later on the fresh softs. Galaxy up in the 4th, but Failer is not done. Failer tries to go around the outside. He's got a little bit of battery. They bang a little bit of wheels, but Galaxy is through and has the position through turn number 7. While that was all happening, Tudor has now put 4 seconds, or an extra second, excuse me, to Galaxy. Galaxy does have the fresher tires. He doesn't have the spin on them. So can Galaxy get within the 3 seconds that he needs? Or get within the 3-second window? Gain just that 1.1 seconds that he needs and get his first podium of the season. Deny the Romanian of it. Jan Failer, meanwhile, is trying to stick within DRS range of Galaxy because he knows that if Galaxy can reel in Tudor, that, hey, maybe Failer can go for a shot towards the end of the race as the softs fall off. But we have 5 laps to go and everything to play for at this stage. Tudor's going to need to try to reel in Crucix, but it's going to be very hard on those softs that might be a little lit up at this stage in the race. As Galaxy pulling along Patrick and Failer. Patrick trying to go to the end of the race. He's on lap 17 on those mediums. Very impressive performance by the Williams driver to make those tires last this long. Longer than everyone else on the hards, exception of Crucix. Fantastic stuff by the Williams driver, who unfortunately has 6 seconds of penalties to his name. Actually, excuse me, he only had 3 seconds. Gelbovan is the one who's been picking him up. He's at 9 seconds right now. Our mate will be able to jump Gelbovan at this stage. But we'll wait and see. 3.7 is the gap now with Tudor. Tudor trying to reel in Crucix. Crucix does not have a time penalty, so Tudor's going to need to clear the Alpha Tower driver and get ahead, but he's not getting enough per lap to make that happen. Cyberbrot, meanwhile, leading the way at the front. It's going to be 3 laps to go. Crucix in second. You see he's got the whole back straight between him and the race leader. Nice comfort zone for Cyberbrot, who could... he's not far enough ahead to pit for a fresh set of softs and, you know, still win the race, but get fastest lap and pull out all the stops, but it sure feels like it with that gap. Speaking of gaps, Galaxy is half a second between him and the podium right now with Tudor's 3-second time penalty. Tudor really struggling on those softs. I think he lit him up just too much during that spin. Got too much wear on him, and now they're coming to bite him back. And as you can see, Galaxy 3.1 to Tudor. He wants his first podium of the season. Galaxy doing everything he can. Now, to give you guys some reference on what Galaxy has done this season, he's not in the top 10 of the standings. Galaxy, so far this season, he's currently down in 15th. His best result was 4th place at Monaco. Had a brilliant drive there, but he had 10th in Bahrain, did not finish in Spain, 4th, 13th in Azerbaijan, 8th in France, did not finish Austria, did not start Monza, did not finish in Belgium, then came in 10th in Portugal and 12th in Britain. He only has 18 points to his name this season, and he is within 3 seconds of Tudor. This would be his best result of the season. He would be the 13th different driver on the grid to sit on the podium as well. Galaxy doing it all for the Red Bull team today. He would almost double his points by beating Tudor. Now, he's not going to be close enough to get Crucix. He's going to need a little bit of help from there to get the AlphaTauri driver. Sauerbraten crossed the line. Excuse me, it was 4 to go when they crossed the line last time. Sauerbraten now has 3 to go. Excuse me for my mispronunciation. So, if Galaxy can gain enough time, he can still get Crucix. However, look at that. Failure is not going away. Galaxy, he knows that Failure does not have a time penalty. And he knows that Failure, even on the hard tires, you can never be too careful with our current championship leader behind him. And so while Galaxy reels in Tudor, he needs to keep an eye on his rearview mirror, because Failure does not have a time penalty either. Failure is within 3 seconds of Tudor now as well. And Failure is hungry for a podium here today. Now, what would be crazy, it doesn't look like it'll happen if you look at the fastest laps here. As you can see, Darn did a 33.2 compared to Failur's 34.5. If Failure somehow made a move on Galaxy and could somehow run down Crucix and overtake Crucix, which does not look likely with 2.5 laps to go, he would win the championship because of his 19-point advantage that he would have over F1 Racer. However, that does not look likely, so the championship will carry on into next week when we go to Imola. First time AOR will be driving there. I'm not sure if ever. I don't believe it's been in an F1 game in the last 10 years, so I believe it'll be the first time ever there, and he could be a first-time champion here in Tier number 1 when we go to Imola. But as you can see, Tudor has lost a lot of time to Crucix on the last lap. It's 4.8 to him and the AlphaTauri driver. Galaxy, meanwhile, in DRS rage of the Romanian. But does he get it? Did he get the detection point? He did not. So, Galaxy does not have DRS. Failure does have DRS still, as he's just been pulled along by the Red Bull driver. And now they're going to battle for it on track. This will be for the final podium spot. If you're Galaxy, you ideally just want to let Tudor give you DRS and pull you along to help you defend from Failure. But with Tudor really struggling like he is right now with 2 laps to go, it's not looking likely that you can just rely on Tudor to pull you along to help you save yourself from Failure, who's just really flying at this stage. Patrick, meanwhile, has dropped off. He's on 20 lap on mediums, so we applaud him for doing that. But at this stage in the Grand Prix, Patrick has got to be just trying to get his tires home without getting a puncture. So knock on wood for him. Let's see what the Williams driver can do. Running in 6th position, and he will hold on to that even with his time penalty. But back up to the battle for 3rd right now. You see Tudor leading the way. It is 0.8 of a second between 5th and 3rd right now. We have ourselves a very, very close battle here coming down with, it's a lap and the 3rd sector and 2 corners to go. Coming out of turn number 10, Sauerbraten is through the DRS opening point down the back straight right now. And Galaxy is close enough to go for the move on Tudor. You can just look how much more grip he has. Pitted 1 lap later. Yellow flag in sector 2. That is Gelbavan who is round. He is going slowly as he looks to correct his car, but we're going to keep an eye on Galaxy right now. He's going to go for the overtake down the back straight. He's got Jan Failure not too far behind him. They might go 3 wide into the hairpin. There you can see it. Galaxy is through. Failure using Galaxy to pull him through on Tudor. Tudor defends the inside. He's going to have to let Galaxy through, but can Jan Failure make the move on Tudor? He's going to try to go for the move as they go to get the white flag. Final lap of the race. Tudor really struggling. He's really slow coming out of the final corner. Failure, he knows he needs to clear Tudor so that way he can try to challenge Galaxy on the last lap. Tudor really defending the inside. Jan Fehler trying to go around the outside of the Romanian. He gives him a squeeze. Fehler goes for the switchback through turn number 3. Fehler going for the move. They're still side by side through 4. This is going to help Galaxy's world a lot. Tudor really putting up a fight here. Galaxy's got to be very happy looking in his mirror. Both of them using everything, throwing everything that they have. Tudor tries to go for the lunge up the inside. Fehler leaves the space, and he's going to hang on to the position. Fehler, though, is going to lose DRS, it looks like, to Galaxy. No, he gets it back just again. Doing everything he can. He only has one more overtaking point, and that's into turn number 14. He needs to get DRS. He needs to find several tenths through the next few corners if he wants that podium. Fehler's doing everything he can, but so is Galaxy. This is for 3rd position, folks. This is fantastic stuff. It is for a first-time podium versus more points for the championship leader. Who's going to come out on top? Well, I'll tell you who comes out on top, and that is Sauerbraten. Beautifully driven. We haven't talked about him much recently, but Sauerbraten is going to come out at turn 16, and for the 3rd time this season, he wins in Shanghai. Sauerbraten is your race winner. Krusix will come on P2, and for 3rd place, Fehler is not going to be close enough. Oh, he's going to try to go around the outside of Galaxy. And he's going to go for the switchback through 15. Galaxy lights up the rears. This is for the final podium spot. Galaxy has the inside line. Fehler goes for another switchback. Galaxy lights up the rears again. They're going to go side by side across the line. And Fehler comes home in 3rd place. Steals the podium from Galaxy at the line. It is heartbreak for the Red Bull driver. Krusix comes home in 2nd. Fehler steals 3rd position. Galaxy in 4th, Tudor in 5th, Patrick in 6th, Kevjanex in 7th, Ripson in 8th, Armate in 9th, Gelbovan in 10th position. Here today rounds out our points paying positions. Wow. So the championship battle lives to see another day. Fehler unable to close out today, but he gets 15 points to his name versus the 4 that Ripson gets and the 0 to F1 Racer. I'm going to go ahead and actually update the championship standings in off screen at the moment and see if I can go ahead and do some back. Galaxy is the game's driver of the day. I think it is safe to say that I agree with that statement. But what a fantastic drive. Sauerbraten comes home in 1st position. A deserved race victory there. Wow. Just wow. Sauerbraten wins. Krusix comes home in 2nd. He's able to hang on, defend for all his might, and he will come home in 2nd position. You can see right there, Galaxy gets pipped at the line, 29 thousandths of a second. Gap between the McLaren and the Red Bull. The Red Bull's first podium, and the McLaren's almost, I don't even know how many podiums Fehler has to his name at this point in the season. We're going to go ahead and quickly get the race director for any drivers to see in the event of penalties. And there you have it. There is the race director. Tudor got a warning for a collision there. He did everything he could to help Galaxy out, but unfortunately it was just not enough at that point in the race. Now we're going to go ahead and switch on over to our interviews tab right now. Now, of course, you see it is the British Grand Prix. It says it is actually not the British Grand Prix. It is the Chinese Grand Prix, round 11 out of 13. I'm going to go ahead and do some quick math here while we just kind of sit back and just to reflect on that absolutely brilliant end of the race. Fantastic stuff. Heart goes out for Galaxy. He got absolutely robbed there at the line. Very unfortunate for him. Darn comes home outside of the points. 5th place in the championship now, or 4th place now goes to Tudor, who does come home with 10 points to his name in 5th position. So that he is up to 94 points. He will gain a position. I'm going to have to go ahead and switch that around real fast. We're going to wait and see if anyone comes in for the interviews. It looks like we will have Tudor, who is coming in for the interviews at this point. Wow, that was a fantastic race. We're just going to quickly update the standings right now that I have off screen. Then we're going to go ahead and bring in Tudor into the post-race interview. Sauerbraten picking up 25 points. He actually jumps up in the 4th. Excuse me for my misunderstanding. He's going to get 25 points. He's going to go up 2 positions. And just, whew, wow. So Sauerbraten gains a ton of positions. Darn's going to actually lose out on 2 positions. He's going to drop down into 6th. So he loses 2. Tudor does not move in the championship standings. Sauerbraten goes up 2 positions. He's going to go up to... I have to do some mental math here. I do apologize. I believe that is the right total right there. Actually, hang on, ladies and gentlemen. Hang on 1 second. If I did my math correct, and we're going to reveal this after I bring in Tudor for the interview. So we're going to go ahead. We're going to bring in Tudor for the post-race interview here right now. Tudor, it was a very good drive for you today until it was not. You had the spin after you set the fastest lap towards the end of the race on the softs. Talk us through the strategy call first for the mediums, and then how it all went wrong towards the end.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, can hear you loud and clear.
All right. Well, in qualifying, I thought it was actually gonna rain for the race, so I just went ham on the softs. Couldn't manage anything better than a 31.4, so I don't know where the pace was in qualifying, but anyway, in starting 12, right? Yeah. I was surprised actually to see that we were on dries, seeing that the track was wet and it was still raining, and so it was one of those situations where it was on the crossover point, but the enters were just that tiny bit slower a lap, and it just wasn't worth it to box. Like, I think there was some people that boxed for enters that just fell down the order. And so yeah, I started on mediums because I knew the softs wouldn't last at the start, and I just went with it. Went really well the first stint, managed to keep the car under control, and then I just went, I was like in 2nd place behind Sauerbraten and ahead of Galaxy, and at that point I was just trying to keep the car on track, not losing time, not spin. It was difficult on the braking zones. I was locking tires, sometimes going deep. But yeah, I was very surprised after those 10 laps that Ribson's tires just didn't just completely drop off. The drop off that I had at the end of the race, my tires just went completely dead. That's why I even chose the softs, seeing that Sauerbraten was so quick on them for those 10 laps at the beginning on full fuel, may I add. I said there's no point on me going on softs. Even Krusix behind me was on hards and he was slower than me, then I was on one mediums. So I just try to go long, went 18 laps on the mediums and then boxed for softs. They were quite good at the start, but then after I had a spin, they just dropped off completely. I had no pace. Even the 3-second time penalty, I think I can remove a warning for that because it was on the last corner. I went wide. I lifted off throttle as much as I could so I didn't spin. And then I joined the track. I got a warning. I think I could have gotten that removed. So P3 was on the table, but I just spun, made that mistake, and yeah, then the tires dropped off, and I had nothing against Galaxy and Fela.
An unfortunate end result for you today. A very unfortunate. I don't think anyone expected the rain to bring out the dry tires. Of course, everyone probably assumed it was be wet. For your setup, I'm sorry if I missed you if you said this. Did you pick a wet weather setup or a dry weather setup, seeing what you saw for the race?
I went for something in between. I went for my dry setup, but I modified the suspension, made it a lot softer, increased the ride height, just so I could be that little bit stable, more stable in the inters, in the wets.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Now, you had really good pace on the mediums at the start, and just it was unfortunate how it unfolded. Ended up coming home in fifth, even with the penalty removal. You probably will stay there. Still a very good race. Started in 12th, finishing in fifth. You did officially get the win last week. Now, let's put it that way. So, how are you feeling about that? At least learning that you have something good coming out of this race, and the fact that you got fifth here today and you did win last week. How does that feel? Officially.
I mean, it's. I mean, it's. I feel good. I mean, what was it? A win at Spa, then P6 at Portsmouth, and a win at Silverstone, P5 at China. I think next up it's a win, and then we have Imola and Brazil, right?
Imola and Brazil, indeed.
Well, if we go by that pattern, then it must be a win at Imola and P4 at Brazil.
Yes, I guess by that pattern, it would mean that that's what it would be.
Yeah, so I don't know. I'm just glad. I mean, I stick to my prediction from last time out, from last week, top 5. So yeah, I mean, I'm still gonna go for P4, top 5, top 3 for the last 2 rounds. And yeah, I'm just excited with this end of the season. If I didn't have those no shows and retirements in the first half of the season, I think I would have probably been up there in the top 3 in the standings. I don't know where I stand now.
So this will be part of the last question. So we have Imola coming up and then Brazil. How do you feel about going to Imola? Now, looking at the championship as it stands, we have Failure leading the way by a large margin. We have a new surprise in second place, which I will reveal later on after the interviews post-race. You are currently 5th place and 12 points behind second position in the standings. No, sorry, not second. Third place. You are 12 points behind third place in the standings, 17 points behind second. Do you think you can at least get top 3 hearing that out loud?
Yes.
I assume that would be the goal.
I mean, I will do everything in my power to get top 3. I mean, you said 17 points to P2?
Yeah, 17 points to P2 as it stands.
I mean, even that is reachable, I think. So anything can happen, I think. So I'll just push as much as I can at Imola and Brazil, and yeah, let's see what happens.
I agree. Let's see what happens indeed. Tudor, congratulations on the result today. Of course, it wasn't what you wanted. You thought you had the podium in the bag, but P5 after starting outside the top 10 is still a fantastic result for you today.
Thank you.
All right. Cheers, Tudor. Take care.
Have a good night.
You
Bye.
too. So that was Tudor. He'll be our first post-race interview. Next up, we have the guy who just lost out on the line, but still had a career day. Galaxy, you had yourself a fantastic drive today, which ended in an unfortunate heartbreak. Talk us through how you were feeling about your race went once you realized that it was going to start out in the rain, and then you had the podium just so close. How are you feeling after that?
Yeah. So good evening, first of all. But first I thought, oh my God, rain. I planned my strategy with medium qualify and go to the hards in the race, and then I saw, oh my God. But I was pretty surprised that we started on mediums. And I planned with the hards, but I saw that tire was pretty low, and also Sauerbraten, I think, did 11 laps in soft. So I thought, well, let's try. But I think I've made too many mistakes in the wet on the medium, so I lost pretty much too much time, and this costed me that I dropped behind Patrick and Jan in the end. Yeah, and how it ended, you saw it, I think.
Yeah, very heartbreaking, but still P4 ties for your best result in the season. I mean, you were my driver of the day by a long shot. You drove an absolutely phenomenal race. You did nail the strategy, and you mentioned how the mediums lasted a lot longer than you said. Now, seeing how it was raining and so tricky out there, do you feel like your race went better because of the tricky conditions, or did you feel more confident going that medium hard strategy in the dry?
From practice, I would say it was better for me that it rained, because normally in the rain I have better pace than in the dry, but in this game I think I've never drove in these conditions. So it's raining and I had dry tires, so it was the first time. So I think it was an advantage for me, but I'm not sure about it.
I mean, you still drove an absolutely fantastic race. I mean, you had me blown away, and I do feel for you at the end of the race there. But still, 12 points on the board, fourth place after starting all the way down in 11th position. You're tied for your best result on the season. Do you think you can carry that into Imola next week when we go there for the first time?
I hope so. I don't really know what my pace is on this track, but I hope it can be another top 5 or something like this. So I maybe can finish top 10 in the standings at the end.
So let me ask you another question then. So I know I personally have never driven Imola on the game, and I will be doing that this coming week. Are you like me in that you've never driven it, or do you at least have some experience going into the week?
I drove on these tracks not too often on ACC.
Okay.
And also a few, but not much practice laps on F1. But track is also pretty new for me on with Formula One cars.
All right. Well, I guess we'll see how it goes. Hopefully, I'm rooting for you. Hopefully, you can carry your momentum into next week. You drove a fantastic race today. You are our driver of the day. Take a bow, Galaxy. That was a fantastic drive.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Cheers, and have a safe, happy, and wonderful rest of your night.
You too.
So that was Galaxy. He was our second interview of the day. Last but not least, we'll go ahead and bring in Jan Fehler. Jan, you had yourself a very strong recovery drive. It looked like it could be a dominant race, but then you had the unfortunate drive-through. What happened there?
Hi. Yeah, the drive-through was I dared to accelerate out of a corner under virtual safety car, and that was not allowed. No, I was very close to the delta because I got the notification that VSC was ending, so obviously still on that long straight, and I was like 6/10 up at that point, I think, on the delta. So okay, well, I'm still on the straight, so let's just accelerate, and get closer to that zero. But then I was half a second in the red approaching the corner, so I slammed on the brakes, and already thought, well, that was too late. If it hits green now, I'm getting a drive through. Hitting the apex. I was at a 10th green maybe. So okay, so I thought, this is the apex. So what comes next is you press on the throttle again because you want to accelerate again. But you have to carry, especially in those conditions, I guess. I mean, they must have played a part in that delta. You have to go so slow around that corner that you can't accelerate until like a car length behind the apex already. And yeah, so I got a penalty because I was like 0.05 in the red, and that was a drive-through then.
So that was definitely unfortunate to see. Definitely flipped the race on its head. However, you did still come home in third on the podium, even if it was just barely. And that was due to the fact you had fantastic race pace on the hards. Did that surprise you just how quick you were on the hards, or did you know that you'd be able to carry that pace? Because even when it was raining at the start, and like when you initially switched over, you still had really good pace on them.
Yeah, especially that start of the stint was surprising to me because, well, it was surprising actually in the way that I was not able to get close to our mate ahead of me who was in intermediates. And I thought, well, okay, maybe they are kind of equal on tires, but if I have fresh tires, even if they are hard, if they are hard, DRS is still activated. I should get closer and at some point get past, but I just couldn't. So that was a bit worrying actually, and I thought at that point that maybe it would have been a better idea to go on mediums and do the soft medium as some other people did, I think. But luckily, that was a lot slower in the end, I think. And then when it was dry, I knew that the mediums would drop off a little bit in the end. So I was always thinking about getting past Kev at least in the end, I think it was. But then his pace was dropping off a bit earlier than I anticipated. And then when Tudor and Galaxy came out the pits behind me, which I knew was always going to happen, but obviously on the softs, I'm never going to hold them up for a long time. And Tudor came up ahead of me anyway. I think I must just identify. No, but I knew the shots would drop off in the end, but I thought they would have such a great advantage until that point that I would not be able to catch them at any by any chance. But that final lap was something else, to say the least.
It was a very exciting final lap. So when you had Tudor at the start of it, really defend his position, do everything he can. But once you got through, I mean, you really, really nailed it through those corners. Do you believe that you caught up because of the drop off and that you nailed it, or did you notice a mistake? Because it looked like from my POV that you just absolutely had a perfect final lap to make that work.
It was almost perfect, but there was one mistake the Galaxy did coming into exiting the second sector, right before that snail corner. And the left-hander, he outbroke himself a bit and went wide, so he had a really bad angle into that long snail right-hander. And that, I think I would have had the DRS anyway because I was around 9/10 going into the braking zone behind him. But obviously, without that mistake, he would have had a better exit out of the snail corner. And then maybe he wouldn't have needed to defend. Maybe I think he wouldn't even have needed to defend, at this point where he did, because I was quite far back actually, and I would not have made a move there. I mean, he went to the middle of the road, so I thought, okay, I dart on the outside now. Maybe he thinks he has to leave room now, so I broke really, really late, risking a bit of damage if he actually came across, because I probably would have run into the back of him. So I kind of went alongside him to cut back in, and well, I guess you saw the rest if you were on it. I'm sure you were.
Yeah, I was.
And then I was actually quite scared in the final corner when he lost the rear end a bit, because I thought he's going to collect us both now off the track and into the wall. But luckily that didn't happen. And then I also managed to get on throttle a bit earlier than him again, with the DRS I think in the end as well, right before the line. That helped to get in front of him by those 200s or whatever it was. Well, that was quite exciting.
That was very exciting. Now, unfortunately, like I messaged you prior to the race, you did not get the margin you need to wrap up the championship today. You actually came home with a 43-point lead over second place in the championship. Going into Imola, are you confident that you can make it, you can close it out? I mean, the only way you wouldn't be able to close it out if you had an unfortunate wreck and someone wins the race. But how does that make you feel going to the last 2 rounds of the race? Does it ease any pressure off of it, or you still feel like, you're still a little nervous that, anything that could happen, especially with Imola being a new track to the game?
Yeah, Imola is stressful, man. With all those curbs, they can catch you off guard every time, all the time. You can get penalties easily with track limits. Plus things that happened in Silverstone, which obviously mostly were my fault, but still unfortunate things like the safety car in that race. Then unfortunate things, which I guess in the end were also my fault today with the drive-through. I mean, I could have just gone slower, whatever. These things can also always happen, so it's still not wrapped up. But I think I'll have a pretty calm mindset because I know that I should have the pace to get those 7 or 8 points or whatever I need now in those final 2 races.
I believe you will do everything you can and you will come home on top. Jan, congratulations on that podium. You drove a fantastic race considering, and we look forward to seeing you back next week when you have the chance to lift up that trophy and finally call yourself a Tier 1 champion. Hope you have a safe, happy, and healthy rest of your week, and we look forward to seeing you next week on track.
Yeah, thank you. Hope you stay healthy as well. Have a good one.
Will do. Cheers. You too. Cheers. So that was Jan Fehler. Now I want to go ahead and switch on over to the championship standings. Now this is prior to the race beginning. It was a 147 gap for the McLaren team. Now we don't have the updated team championship for you guys, unfortunately. However, as of post-race, I believe I did it correctly. We're going to go ahead and take a look. This was pre-race, as you can see. It was Fehler, F1 racer Ripson. We're going to go through pre-race. Post-race, after that result, the big surprise is Sauerbraten has jumped all the way up into second position in the championship standing. Coming into this race, he was sitting at 80, I believe 86 points with Doran at that margin. This is a rough estimate. I do apologize as I may have messed it up. Let me confirm. Sauerbraten had 83 points, so that he doesn't have 111. I do apologize on that number, but he still is at 108, and he still is in second in the championship. So disregarding that number, Sauerbraten is now in second in the championship with a 48-point gap to Failer. If I am correct with my math, which could very be wrong, I believe it is 46, not 48. Either way, Sauerbraten up into second in the championship standings. F1 Racer drops down to third after that unfortunate race for him. Ripson drops down into fourth, passed by his teammate. Goat Tutor holds on to fifth place, while Darn drops out of the top 5, down into 6 after that. Definitely not his favorite and best race today. Krusix stays in 7th, but gains a lot. He had 56 points going into the race. He's now at 74 with a chance to possibly overtake Darn next time out. Patrick up a position. He's up into 8th place, 56 points. Kev Genetics jumps his teammate, goes up into 9th, and Field Racing Seb drops down into 10th with 51 points after not scoring as well and crashing out early on. Those are your championship standings. Can Jan Failer close the deal, finish the championship? All he has to do is score. Let me correct my math right now. So Sauerbraten before the race had 83. I need to make sure I do this correctly. So Sauerbraten is at 108 points, not 111. I do apologize for that. Jan Failer just needs to score 7 or more points to officially score to win the championship. Assuming no one... Oh, no. Sorry. He just needs to... That's the 52-point margin. He needs to outscore Sauerbraten by... Now I'm losing my math right now. By 19 points. So if Sauerbraten, F1 Racer, and Ripson, one of them win the race, then Jan Failer needs to score at least 3 points. So it is looking very nice and tidy for the McLaren to win the championship. But the Alfa Romeos, do not count them out. Also, don't count them out in the team championship standings. Before the race, unfortunately, I did not do the math inside of my head to figure it out after the race. But before the race, Alfa Romeo was down in 7th. They had a pretty bad result. They're going to jump up a decent amount, probably into the top 5, into the Constructors for sure. And they'll be pressuring up towards the front. Now, Ferrari did not have the best of days. He had Gelbevand, was not able to finish ahead of Failer. So McLaren is going to pull away from the Williams and Ferrari team at the front with 2 races to go. Everything on the line. Stay tuned. We look forward to seeing you next week here in Apex Online Racing. This has once again been a featured presentation. Keep a lookout on the AOR YouTube channel for more racing content. We have the 6 hours of Hmiel and Assetto Corsa Competizione, the final round of the Endurance Racing League, premiering on next Saturday, December 11th. And then on December 12th, we'll be back here, 8 p.m. British Standard Time, for the penultimate round of the PC EU Season 22 Championship. Jan Failer looking to seal the deal, get his first title. We look forward to seeing you all back here in 1 week's time here on AOR. I am Fizzymon, and I thank you very much for spending your afternoon with me. It's been a long day, very chaotic racing day, and it has been a pleasure. I hope everyone has a safe, happy, healthy rest of your nights, and we look forward to seeing you next week here in AOR.
Apex Online Racing is sponsored by Elgato, who created this lovely stream deck. For more information about the stream deck, the link is in the description below.